Hi, this is Julie from One More Page. Today I'm doing a book review of Drive by Daniel Pink. So this book is actually nonfiction, and the focus is around the surprising truth about what motivates us. And the reason I found this book was because I saw a TED video featuring Daniel Pink, and he kind of introduces the idea, the premise behind this book in that TED video. So I'll put the link in the comments below if you want to check that out as well. So, in a nutshell, the big premise behind this book is around external versus internal motivation. And he posits that we are actually driven by more internal motivation than we are for any external motivation in our workplaces, in our schools, in our life. And he frames also this book around this idea of autonomy, mastery, and purpose, which plays off of this internal motivation idea that we all strive for autonomy. We want to be the drivers behind our own life. Mastery, his vision of mastery is kind of like we want to get better at things that matter. And purpose, that the things that we do choose to do are connected to the greater good or have a value to our society. And I thought it was interesting, that I was reading this book originally around the same time that I started my own YouTube channel. And, he talks a lot about this idea, not necessarily even in the book, but on his TED videos and things um, that we often do things, and a lot of people do things, not because they'll get any monetary reward for it, but just because we want to give back. And I thought it was interesting that I created this channel because I have watched so many booktubers and enjoyed their videos and thought I'd like to, if one person watches my videos or listens to my videos and says, I'd like to read this book, or maybe I'd like to do a book channel, and it creates a culture of, reading, then, I feel like I'm giving back to that kind of greater purpose. The other thing I'll say about this book is it's quite accessible. And what do I mean by that? A few reviewers that I've seen have said that maybe this book is a little too simple, and a little you can get the same information from reading the synopsis of the book or from watching the TED video. And I wouldn't say that's entirely untrue. Definitely the book goes a lot deeper. But the main idea is he's very good at summarizing a lot of kind of big picture things. And that's kind of, I think, what's amazing about how Daniel Pink writes and talks. He's got this great way of taking very complex ideas and really focusing in on what matters, and how the all of us can kind of use his philosophies in our daily lives. And so I did think that the fact that he's able to take so much research, so many prominent psychologists and researchers and philosophers and professors and people that have spent their lives on very complex ideas, and kind of boil them all down for us in a very accessible, easy to read book that does take you further than if you just watched the TED video. So I did, I kind of disagree with that, but I get what they're saying. But that's, I think, part of his genius. He's really able to summarize things well for his readers. I just realized something earlier in the beginning of the video. I was talking about Pink's vision about internal versus external motivation, and suggesting that internal motivation works better. That's a little bit false, and I'm too lazy to go back and edit my video. But basically, he suggested the external motivators, rewards and punishments, carrots and sticks, work only for very specific types of tasks, and he delves into that in the book. So it's not that they don't work at that, but if you're asking for critical, creative, outside the box kind of thinking, that internal motivation and the autonomy, mastery, and purpose kind of model works better. Finally, my one thing that I often think about in this book is that he gives a lot of examples of kind of forward-thinking companies, forward-thinking schools, workplaces, and organizations that have used an internal motivation model or have embraced autonomy, mastery, and purpose to kind of motivate their workers and or their employees or their colleagues or their partners or whatever it might be. And and a lot of them are very forward thinking and very fascinating to read about. And some of them obviously have done incredibly well and are still around. You probably know a lot of them, but I do wonder um, if all of them are still around. And he mentions a lot that I haven't heard of before, and I wonder about the staying power of these companies and organizations that have really embraced this model. And if we fast forward 20 years, what it will look like. And so I really buy into his ideas. I mean, you can't help it's infectious the way he talks about things, and you can't help but say, oh, that makes complete sense. And he really does this kind of like scientific approach based around research and knowledge, and not just this is what I think. So it is really grounded in knowledge. Uh, but I'm always apprehensive to just jump on a bandwagon and say, okay, this is what works. But I mean, a lot of it does make sense, and so I'm excited as I move forward to kind of try to embrace this, especially as an educator, to try to embrace tapping into people's and students, their internal motivations, their want to do good things, and I think it's interesting, and I'm excited to keep embracing it and keep trying to see if it can transform the people in my life. Anyways, that's me on Drive by Daniel Pink. I hope you pick this one up. It's definitely worth a read.